What is up, my ninjas? I'm Strident, and today we are taking a look at the SH Figuarts Injustice Gods Among Us Superman. Me and my son call him Evil Superman, because essentially that's what happens. He's driven crazy by the Joker. First, I want to get into the package. I know I normally don't do this, but I'm going to take a look at the package because people have some misunderstandings about Tamashii Web exclusives / Tamashii Nations and Bluefin. Now, as you see, the box is really nice. Got an awesome graphic of Superman looking crazy, like he's about to choke a fool. The colors are really obviously Superman-ish with the reds and blues and whatnot. And you know, the open window on the front, it's pretty awesome because you get to see the figure. So that way, if you see these in person, you get to look and make sure your paint is right, make sure the eyes are in the right place, etc., etc. Ad infinitum. What's dope about it though is that, you know, this is a variation of what most SH Figuarts boxes look like. And on the back, you have this cool artwork, and I always love seeing how companies photograph their own shit, you know, because there's a lot of us out there that take pictures of these products, and some of us do a better job, but it seems like most people don't really touch what Bandai is capable of doing with their own properties. Now, that's my favorite image, that's why it's so good. Now, let's talk about Bluefin. Bluefin is a distributor. They're how we get figures outside of Japan from Bandai, like SH Figuarts and all that stuff. They are not the people making the figures, they are the people distributing the figures. I've had this argument with people on various sites, even here on YouTube, where people are trying to tell me that Bluefin makes the figures. Tamashii Nations also makes the figures. Tamashii Nations, which you see that symbol with the heart and the horns and the lightning bolt, Tamashii means spirit. It's the kind of umbrella label for anything having to do with that's made by Bandai, who usually makes like giant robot type shit. You know what I mean? Like Gundam and you know, Gurren Lagann, all the super robots from various shows like, you know, Voltron or Go Lion or whatever. This is just showing this is their mark. This is an official, essentially an official product that fits in line with that stuff made by the people who did all those things. So Tamashii Nations is not so much a manufacturer, it's a label. It's like a seal of approval. Bandai makes the figures. Bandai is the company that makes SH Figuarts, as well as most Sentai-based or Tokusatsu-based action figure or, you know, cosplay stuff, whatever. They make most of that stuff. I hope that clarifies some stuff for folks that just didn't know. Now for the sculpt and paint. This guy is immaculate. Whew. Everything about this guy, I was just like, wow. I thought at first that I wasn't going to like him as much because I hate this suit. How do I put it? I got to say this the right way. I'm not fond of a lot of the designs. You notice I didn't really mention this much in my character design video where I focused a lot on Injustice. Because in the game, some of the characters have the physique to make the suit look good. But when Mattel did their version, their figure did not have the physique. He wasn't sculpted properly to wear the costume and not look like an idiot. Instead, he was sculpted with this weird kind of semi-anorexic frame. He just didn't look right. He looked kind of just awkward, I guess is the word, you know, that tiny little body, really long arms, short legs, a tiny little head, and the S shield doesn't appear to be huge and imposing the way that it is in the game. So he just didn't look right, and, you know, I just didn't really think twice about it. I was like, nope, I'm not looking at it. The colors don't really pop other than on the S. Whereas this version, even though they're subdued blues, the metallic blue works. It looks really royal and it makes him look imposing, and the subdued reds and then like the metallics all across the board help. It's a good contrast with him against, you know, the Batman that we got, you know, a little while back. He just has this really nicely thought out variation in paint that helps make the figure stand out amongst all your other Superman figures if you happen to be a Superman fan. He does come with the articulated cape, which is 3 pieces, just like Batman's, and I hate it, so I put on a placeholder cape during the review so I wouldn't get my hands stabbed while moving the figure around. There I was trying to imitate that Man of Steel poster, that the image we got early on when the movie was just about to come out. You can see all the subtle kind of leaning positioning we can do based on the fact that he has ball jointed torso, articulation. It's dope. This is why we come to these guys. And the S is die cast, which is amazing. It's the first die cast Superman anything that I have. So I'm really, 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 really enjoying and impressed with how this looks. Him and Batman, squaring up with each other just looks awesome. I like the fact that actually I'll save the likes for later, but the articulation. This is the most articulated Superman that I have. So there are a lot of subtleties that you can achieve in his poses based on this, and this is what's dope about SH Figuarts. Another thing is that a lot of the articulation has been kind of revamped, so it's more anatomically correct. And I dig that a lot because that is part of SH Figuarts' whole like shtick, They what do they say? They say pursuing character expression through humanoid action. The figure needs to move the way a human does. The joints need to work the way humans do. So there's no bicep swivel because we don't swivel at the bicep. We swivel at the shoulder. Certain things like all the craziness going on in the shoulder, the butterfly joint, the ball socket, the socket joint, all that stuff allows for a lot of movement that we never get with American figures. And I've heard a lot of people dog the figure and dog the articulation and say, oh, it's weird, it doesn't work for me, blah, 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 yakety schmackety. Well, if you put your figure up on the shelf and you pose him one time and it's in the generic, hands on his hips, then yeah, you would never see all that stuff. But you'll see in this video all the plethora of poses that I'm going to put him in to show you just how much you are afforded with the way this figure is sculpted and the way he is articulated. There's a lot you can do. But we're talking about Sculpt and Paint, so I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. The sculpt works from every angle. I don't have any issues with the way this guy looks from any angle. The eyes are piercing. The flesh tone is kind of simplistic. It's 2 tones, but it's real simple in comparison to what I just did with the, I just finished my T800, my Ultimate T800 review. It's simplistic in comparison, but it's not, how do I put it? It doesn't look cheap. He still looks like a human, you know what I mean? Or looks like a person, that you would see out in the street or whatever. He still looks like the character in the game. Light hits his face a good way. The paint actually works well with that. Yeah, there's not too much to complain about with the face. I've heard in some reviews people complain about the face looking kind of just plain. I mean, he's Superman. He kind of is plain. He doesn't look outwardly like ridiculously powerful, especially not in his expressions. And this figure actually has the extra heads to help with those expressions, So I don't know what to say about that stuff. I think he looks really good. There are a lot of details going throughout the costume that have to do with his, how do I put this? The way that the costume fastens, you know what I mean? Like straps, and there are like bolts and little clips and stuff on the bicep area, the tricep area, on his thigh and whatnot. It's really well thought out. It's stuff that I did not see in the game. And it could be on the model, because a lot of this is just them using the assets from the production of the game. But I think they kind of, they created their own little embellishments to make the suit work better. But the physique that they gave the figure works and makes the suit not look stupid. He doesn't look like a chump. He looks, the suit looks fairly alien, and I like that. I'm actually fond of the suit now, having this figure. I'm more fond of the suit with the figure than I was looking at it in the game and in the Mattel version and all the other various versions that I've seen. It's a good looking figure, very good looking character. Uh, they did a good job. I don't know how anyone could look at this and have issues with the figure. Now, the thing I love the most is that overall, what you get is an imposing version of Superman that is really easy to pose in ways that allow for him to look thorough and to stand up over Batman with as much menace as we usually are allowed to pose Batman with. You know, nothing Batman does is gonna, beat this guy up. It's not gonna make him look like a chump. You know what I'm saying? Like he pretty much, Batman knows that he's in trouble. So I like being able to pose Superman in those subtle, imposing ways that we haven't been able to do with our DC UCs and our various DC Direct and DC collectible figures. Now we can do that with this guy, and I love it. It's so subtle, and it's things that you don't really pay attention to, like the way that Superman clenches his fists, kind of a relaxed way. He's not overly clenching his fists. You know what I mean? He doesn't look like, hey, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. He just looks like this is his relaxed pose. I hold my fists in because I have something I have to do, not because I'm going to pummel you with them. But you can do that with him. You can actually make him pummel your various characters, and you can make him look like he's about to pummel them, which is dope. I love that. I love the fact that now it'll be a little bit easier based on his weight to use him with flight stands or Tamashi stages, or even the Trident stage, which I don't have one yet. It'd be perfect because now he doesn't weigh so much that it's difficult to balance him on one of those stands. Now he weighs just enough that you can actually make use of those stands that we have from your Revel Techs and your Figmas and your Mafex. Shit, that I don't play with that figure at all, but his stand gets constant use in my videos. I mean, you probably just saw it. You're going to see it again. It's a quality stand. So, that's another plus about this guy. He is just beautifully painted, beautifully sculpted. It's funny when so many things are right. And if you notice with a lot of the SH Figuarts reviews that I do, so many things are right that I don't really have to go into detail about what needs to be done, what they left out. It seems like folks are really thinking when it comes to these figures. My only gripe with them would be price, and I know right now we're talking about Sculpt and Paint, but still, I'm an all-encompassing kind of guy, big picture, and I don't like that a lot of the American figures being done by the Japanese studios are coming out with these insane price points. Because in some places, this Superman is, 60, 70 bucks. And he should only be 40 or 50 bucks. You know what I mean? And even that's a lot, but 40 bucks for this type of figure makes sense. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot done well, better than we ever get here in the States. So I have issues with that. And right now that's becoming an issue, and you're going to hear me bring this up a lot until it sticks. Hopefully it'll stick sometime soon, But beautiful figure, lots of subtlety, and Superman is all about subtlety. Even though he's ridiculously powerful, a lot of that is conveyed through subtle, posing options, or choices. Now, for articulation, there's really nothing that you've seen Superman do that you cannot do with this figure. I could not find poses that I've seen on the cover of various comics or poster books from films. I can put him in just about any of those poses. Poses he took in the game, the whole nine. I can recreate all of that with this figure. It makes me happy to be able to do that because that's the point of getting him in the SH Figuarts style. Flying poses, amazing. It's just the fact that we are allowed to pull this kind of stuff off with this figure. We're able to pull this stuff off. The fact that he has the dumbbell in his, or barbell in his neck and in at the top base of the head, base of the neck, you know, it's like you get all the movement in his neck that you would ever need to allow him to fly properly. That's the kind of stuff I like to see. I mean, this is why I collect SH Figuarts, because the limitation you always have on your Iron Man figures and your various Batman figures and shit, you don't have here. He can actually take all those poses. Those Christopher Reeve-ish stances, not a problem here. This guy can do all that shit in spades. And it's funny because, you know, this is a Superman-ism, and you want to be able to have him displayed in a Superman-ism. I mean, I don't know how else to put this. We've been able to do this with Batman for years. I don't know why they always would skimp and not allow us to do it with Superman. Well, now we can.
All right, we're going to do his articulation, starting with the head, of course, first. The head can go from side to side with no problem. Back, looking up, looking down. There's a double barbell, one in the neck, that's sitting here at the base of the neck, so the neck itself moves. And then there's one at the top of the neck where the head itself sits on. So if you want to tilt slightly, like so, you can do that. If you want a real tilt, you can do that, so he can get out of the way of punches and such. Also, when he's flying, he can look dead at you. Arms go up this much. One thing about this figure and most Figuarts that I have to stress is that they're anatomically, their articulation is anatomically correct. So instead of having a bicep swivel at the bicep, no one turns there because it's a single bone. You turn up at your shoulder. So that's where he turns, and he has extra articulation. He's got a kind of a butterfly joint here, so he can pull his arms out further. So you can do this like most figures. He can do this like most figures, but he can also do this now. You see? Do that. So if he needed to grab across, he can do that. Lifelike articulation. It works the way that the human body works. And this cape is not a finished one. It's kind of a placeholder just so I could see how it would fit, you know? So don't get on my case for that. It's kind of a double jointed elbow in here. You can tell there's a point here and a point here. So you get a little bit over the 90 degrees. There's a swivel at the wrist, and then there's a hinge in there. So you get your up and down or in and out, depending on how you turn it. And then you can twist like this. The shoulder pads are points of articulation as well. They move to get out of the way because when you put his arms up, you don't want these in the way. The torso is 3 parts: upper, mid, and then his pelvis. The upper gives you a lot of the ab stuff, the basic ab stuff, but then when you use it in conjunction with the middle, you get a lot of ab stuff. And he can move to the sides. There is some gapping if you go too far, but I mean, shadows will cover that up. So don't listen to those reviews where they go, there's gapping and that's not good. No, it's a toy, it's fake. It's not gonna be real life, so you're gonna have that. So he can go from all over. Go back that far, and forward that far. It actually looks pretty cool. God, I definitely have to record over this. Do this again. Basic Figuarts legs, he goes up that much without the added joint. If you pull the joint down like you can do, you see this? You always can do that with Figuarts. It goes up even farther. Just be careful, don't go crazy. I mean, he is Superman. He's not going to be doing Jet Li kicks and shit, so he's got a beautiful double jointed knee. The knee itself is sculpted really well, and it looks natural. It's not weird like those Play Arts Kai knees that I always complain about. There is a thigh swivel, which is anatomically correct. Once again, we don't cut down here. We can't twist on the bone. It's one single bone in real life that goes through here, so you can't really twist down here. You twist up here at the top of your hip. Superman can do that too. No boot swivel or anything like that because we don't have it, but there is an ankle swivel, point, rocker if you need that. which it works really well. Looks like he's doing the burning. He's just like, but yeah, you got the ankle pivot if you need it. You got the twist, you got the point, and you have the toe hinge. So when he's got his foot all the way back, he's about to take off, there you go. I never used that really. It's only in recent years that I actually tried to use it and make it work. So that is his articulation. It's beautiful. I mean, what do you expect? It is a Superman figure. He is going to be pretty well articulated because, I mean, he's freaking Superman, and it's an SH Figuarts. It's like one of those combinations that it's like made of when. If they failed, something else bad is going to happen with, you know, life, because SH Figuarts do some good stuff. I mean, the only things I could complain about would be the extra heads. Paint was not so great on them. But anyway, this was the articulation part, so ignore all this.
So pretty much, just like I said in the beginning, whatever poses you want to put him in, you can put him in. Dramatic poses, you can do it. Static poses, you can do it. You know, goofy poses, you can do it. Whatever you want to recreate using this guy as the centerpiece for, you can pull it off. And that's a pretty exciting feat considering this is the first Superman done in the SH Figuarts style, and it's been done really well. So I'm impressed. I'm glad they went this route. I'm glad that everything that I would want out of him, I'm getting, you know, and the articulation, of course, is part of that. And they did it in spades, and it's immaculate. I love it. Comparison. I have quite a few Superman figures, but I figured I would only use 3 of them because they represent the 3 most, you know, the biggest changes in his costume that still kept the integrity of the original design. There is, of course, the original design, and then there is the New 52. Also, they're by 2 different companies. Mattel, well, 3 different if you're including the SH Figuarts figure, but you have Mattel, and then you have DC Collectibles. Now, with the Mattel version, you can see that everything that it was tights is now armor on this other suit. You know, it's form-fitting, but it's plates. It feels like it could be a rubber suit or something like that. Something akin to a rubber suit. And I like that. It's not a bad design. It's not a bad look. It looks more functional, more alien, less, you know, circus performer. And you have to understand, too, it's a product of the time. Now you move over to the New 52 and you've got panel lining and whatnot. So you get the same concept, form-fitting armor of some sort. It works. And I like seeing the 2 side by side. You can see where they took their cues from aspects of the New 52 if you look at where the lines are going throughout the figure. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. It looks good. There's also a huge height difference, though. And that's usually the case because it seems like DC Collectibles like to do 7-inch figures. Yeah. Not much to say here. And that's a cap that I really like, but just, yeah. SH Figuarts Injustice Batman. They look cool. They both look like an Elseworlds version of the world's finest. I dig that. And it's strange how a Japanese company just paid attention to all the details that needed to be present on this figure and made it work. Why is it the American figures or companies can't figure this stuff out and give us quality, you know, figures for whatever the price point may be? Makes you wonder. Here he is standing next to another SH Figuarts, and of course you notice that their anatomy just allows for subtle posing options, and it's pretty dope. I'm like, that's the way it should be. I wish it was like this all the time. Anyway, here he is compared to Arnie. You can see he's a lot smaller. He doesn't really need to be towering over everybody else. I know some people have these scale ideas, and Superman doesn't need to be an imposing, muscular guy because, you know, he's Superman. Here he is next to some spacefaring heroes. And you see, kind of fits in well. They fit in well with him. I like the scale. He's on the larger side of the SH Figuarts scale. I dig it. Accessories. He's got some good accessories. They did a good job here. The main ones are the two different heads. Now this head, the open-mouthed head, I have an issue with because I don't like the way his mouth is all painted that dark tongue color. It's like he's bleeding or something. Um, I love the heat vision head. It's pretty dope. I like the fact that, you know, from certain light, it looks like a bad paint job, but when you, from certain angles, I'm sorry, but when you angle it the right way, it comes out looking better. And, you know, that's what we need. You know, I really like that. Especially if you do lighting effects on it. I didn't feel like doing it for this. I've got other shit going on, so I didn't do it. So just take my word for it or look around the internet, and you will definitely see what I'm talking about. He comes with fist hands, and he comes with open hands. That's it. Very simple, very understated, but it gets the point across. Very Superman, nothing more, nothing less. And that's the way I like it, you know what I mean? Bottom line, this is a quality figure. Whether you understand or not, whether you like SH Figuarts or you don't, this figure is the shit. It's one of the best Superman figures that we've received in years. Now, if only SH Figuarts or Bandai would start making, you know, a standard version of our favorite characters, you know what I mean? I would love an SH Figuarts Superman that was like Christopher Reeve, or you know, like a standard comic book, you know, pre-New 52 and even New 52. But for what he is, exactly what you're seeing here, this is a beautiful figure. You can convey all the emotion that he went through in that plot in Injustice. You can show all the power. Whatever you want to do with him, you can do, and it will look good. So this is my review of the SH Figuarts Injustice Superman. He's a quality figure. If you see him, pick him up. He is worth the money. Everything about him is done right. I mean, the worst thing on the figure is the cape, and you can always switch that out. So, this is some S-Class stuff here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And you guys have been great. So, if you see him, get him. I can't state that enough. So anyway, that's it for me. You guys have been great. I'll see you on the next video. South Side.